your daddy, Nathan Littman. Woo! Oh, you didn't know? I think Twitter just suspended somebody. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen of the DJ Storms posse, you know, I was trying. It took a little longer than expected, but I finally did it. We finally did it. One of the most cancerous individuals in the wrestling community, one of the dumbest fucking individuals in the wrestling community, Lidmantis is gone. Both accounts suspended. I was able to do it a couple days ago, and finally we put the final stamp, the nail in the coffin, and he is gone. No more shitty takes, no more stupid tweets, no more Roman Reigns cocksucking from that fucking rat-faced loser. We can rejoice. But that's not where it stops. Oh, trust me, I got plenty of more people to suspend. And they ain't letting him back on. But I just wanted to say that. I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in to this video. The Search for Thunder, still going good. Well, somewhat, at least. I mean, I would assume it's going good because, you know, I'm on the right track. Tommy McGrogan, shout out to him. He actually gave me an idea of where he might be. I'll get on that as soon as I can, but anyway, we're going to start this video off right. I just needed to, you know, do my little, I just needed to do that little cocky intro because of the fact that, you know, we've been trying to get that fucking loser, that fucking lowlife off of Twitter for a while because he's absolutely ruining the fucking community. He's giving wrestling fans a bad name. Vince McMahon Jr., I'd like to call him as well. He's got the mentality of Vince McMahon, saying that Johnny Gargano and Cesaro is insulting. No, Nathan Littman, your face is insulting. Your birth was insulting. Your existence on this earth is exhausting. Or, excuse me, insulting, rather. I say exhausting. Well, to a certain extent, I am a little exhausted. But anyway, let's start this off right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. And I would like to welcome all of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As, of course, you already know who I am. Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the Lightning Flash update for March 1st, 2019. I actually recorded this a couple hours before. I actually had to do some homework, so it's going up a little later. Usually I record the Lightning Flash update on Thursday, and it goes up on Friday, but today I'm recording it on Friday, and it's going up on Friday, or it's already up, and you're watching it right now. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about, actually. News concerning Fastlane, news concerning the United States Championship, and, of course, we're going to start off the festivities here on the Lightning Flash update with the weekly show reviews. Outside of a couple of returns on Monday Night Raw was the same old tired bullshit that we saw every week. No, you fucking idiots, it was not a good show. It wasn't. One of the few highlights on the show was Roman coming back, as in Roman Reigns, yes, otherwise known as Joseph Anoa'i, and he announced that he was cancer-free, and you know what? I couldn't be happier for him. I am happy because both my grandparents on my mother's side, and I already expressed that to you guys a while back, they both died from cancer, so him beating leukemia does give me hope that we will find a definite cure for cancer in the near future. So I'm happy that Roman Reigns is healthy, I am happy that he is out and about, and I'm happy that he can finally live his life in peace once again, without this deadly disease. He is in remission, he's doing good, genuine smile on his face. I am happy for Joseph Anoa'i. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to drop a little truth on you here. For those of you saying that, oh, Roman Reigns got cheered. No, Roman Reigns didn't get cheered. Roman didn't get cheers. Roman's not over. Joseph Anoa'i got cheers. Joseph Anoa'i is over. Why is Joseph Anoa'i over? Simple. because more people relate to him. Now that he has overcome such a deadly disease that has killed so many people all throughout the years, and now people relate to him because a lot of their relatives across the globe have died from cancer. And again, just like me, it gives them hope that one day they will find a definite cure for cancer. They're happy and they respect Roman for overcoming such a deadly disease because at the end, Joseph and why, because at the end of the day, we are all human. Roman Reigns, they weren't cheering Roman Reigns. If this was Roman Reigns, as we saw for the last 4 years, we'd be in the same position that we were in before he even had to relinquish the title. And we are going to be back to that position. Trust me. Wait till you hear the news that I got. But anyway, I'm happy for Joanna Y. That's the positive side of it. The negative side of it that I'm going to have to shove in your face, Roman ain't over. Joseph Anna Y is over. Roman will never be over. Not as babyface, at least. But anyway, from that we went into a tag team match with the Revival, Black, and Ricochet. And what I don't understand is, why do you have the Revival have the jobber entrance and then not even get 4 or 5 minutes of TV time against Black and Ricochet? You got DIY and the Revival putting on a great competitive tag team match last week on Raw, and this week it's like, snap of the fingers and it's over. I mean, I get that Black and Ricochet have to win, but come on. At least make it somewhat competitive. Elias is interrupted by Lacey Evans doing the normal shtick. Can we actually get Lacey Evans into the ring and have her compete? For fuck's sake. I mean, she's supposed to be facing Asuka reportedly at WrestleMania. What can she do? At least she was allowed to compete in NXT. Dean Ambrose comes out, dirty deeds to Elias. He challenged Drew McIntyre to a no DQ match. Becky then ruined a tag team match between Ronda, Natalya, and the Riot Squad. No one gave a shit about this match. I mean, again, how many times have we seen this match? Why are we going to care? Ronda then demanded Vince McMahon come out and reinstate Becky. Stephanie McMahon came out. And Ronda said, Vince is in charge of making the tough decisions. Well, now it's time he makes the right decision. Leaves the title in the ring. But can I just... Look, I love the concept that they did of how Ronda's just saying, you know what, fuck this. Give me Becky, give me Charlotte, and I don't care. I want Becky. This is the right decision because she earned it. But I like how Ronda is being sort of rebellious now. What I don't like the fact that I don't understand how someone can get worse at promos. Literally. Ronda Rousey has gone this way as far as wrestling goes, but she's gone this way as far as promos go. Seriously, why did she sound like she was talking to her high school crush? Like, if she's not saying word after word without taking a breath, blah, 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 then, of course, she's like, well, Vince McMahon, he's in charge of making the tough decisions, right? Seriously. Does she not know how to sound like a natural human being? Does she not know how to put herself in a scenario where she will actually come off as a genuine human being? Seriously. In 1 minute, she sounds like a high school chick. The next minute, she sounds like Eminem from Rap God. Seriously. From that, Kurt Angle defeated Jinder Mahal. Who cares about that? We had a moment of bliss with the Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor was interrupted by Lio Rush. Now, this ended up resulting in an Intercontinental Championship match between Finn Balor and Lio Rush. Now, I actually like this. I like this only because of the fact that, A, it establishes Finn Balor as a fighting champion. He gets a successful title defense under his belt. 2, Lio Rush, moving over from 205 Live onto Monday Night Raw, he is getting mid-card title opportunity. This is what I want to see. 205 Live guys actually competing for gold on the main roster. And Lio Rush, you can't say he hasn't earned it. Lio Rush has worked his ass off to earn an opportunity like that. And we ended up getting a decent match. Lio Rush was very technical. He worked on the leg of Finn Balor. That was the story of the match. Finn Balor ended up coming back on one leg, hit the coup de grace, retained the title against Lio Rush. So that was a decent part of the show. We got a decent match out of it, so I can't really complain about that. They actually have decent chemistry, so if they want to continue a program with Finn Balor and Lio Rush, if they actually give these guys 20 minutes on a pay-per-view, I think that they could absolutely steal the show. Strowman and Lashley ended via no contest. Who gives a shit? The Shield saved Ambrose from a 4-on-1 attack. You know, who cares about the Shield? Blown by that. Bayley defeated Nia Jax. So apparently we get the Boston Hug connection facing off against Nia Jax and Tamina at Fastlane. You know, you couldn't get any worse than that. This is why I said we didn't need women's tag team titles, because people like Nia Jax and Tamina are going to be in championship title scenes rather than actually getting wrestlers that can actually wrestle and that the people want to see. Why couldn't we have had Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose versus the Boston Hug Connection at Fastlane? That would have made much more sense. I mean, we're getting Mandy Rose and Asuka at Fastlane, which I have no problem with, because both women can wrestle. You give these women an opportunity, you give them time, I think they will do very well. So we're going to see how that plays out, but I still think it should have been Lacey Evans facing off against Asuka at one of these pay-per-views on the road to WrestleMania, and then actually at WrestleMania we should have gotten Nikki Cross versus Asuka. Where the fuck has Nikki Cross been? We haven't seen Nikki Cross since the Raw before Elimination Chamber. Where the fuck's she been? Seriously. But the best part about the show was in the main segment when Triple H and Stephanie, they were introducing all these legends to pay respect to Ric Flair. Then all of a sudden they cut to the back after Ric Flair didn't come out to his music, and there's some dude dressed in all black dragging a cameraman. Now, we didn't get a good look at him until the cameraman finally pointed up at his face, and it's Batista. Batista's dragging Ric Flair by his blazer, and Batista goes, "Hey, Hunter, do I have your attention now?" If this is the program that we're getting between Batista and Triple H, I'm telling you, I am absolutely loving this. I am loving this. So simple, but yet so effective for Batista. Batista could not have returned in a better way. Just attacking Ric Flair. "Hey, Hunter, do I have your attention now?" Building off a storyline from SmackDown 1000, even before that. They could build this storyline off the fact that Batista was forced to compete alongside Triple H and Randy Orton back in 2014 to take on the Shield, and all Batista wanted was to become WWE Champion. And Batista could say, "I'm not becoming WWE Champion. I didn't become champion because of you. You were holding me back. So you know what? I quit, but now I'm back to get my vengeance on you." So, I think that would be a great program for WrestleMania. I can't wait to see what they do with Batista and Triple H. But outside of Batista, Roman, and a decent IC title match, Raw was complete shit. No one gave a shit about it. If you thought it was good, well, you need mental help. Now, let's talk about SmackDown. And let me tell you something. I may be going out on a limb here, but this was probably one of, if not the best episode of SmackDown Live I have seen in my entirety of watching SmackDown Live. This was bringing me back to when SmackDown was in 2016 and they had their wild card finals. They had 3 championship matches on the same show, and that ended up beating Raw in the ratings. But this show was wow. This show completely blew me away. Everything on this show was worth watching, and everything on the show built to something. The show started off with Bryan and Kofi about to do their contract signing, and Daniel Bryan, he didn't say a word throughout this entire contract signing. Kofi and the New Day are celebrating, but Vince comes out, and instead, he removes Kofi from the world title match, and he inserts Kevin Owens in there. Now, things just got very interesting. I didn't think that they were going to put Kevin Owens in there. I thought Bray Wyatt was going to be the correct person to build a program with Daniel Bryan going into Mania, but for all we know, they could very well end up giving it to Kofi at WrestleMania. And look, I really don't have a problem with that, but Kofi Kingston is not in a position right now where he's going to be a believable WWE champion. If Kofi's going to have a long, drawn-out run as WWE champion, first of all, New Day needs to break up. New Day needs to break up. Xavier Woods, you could put him in the Cruiserweight division. He's a very underrated performer. He could do wonders on 205 Live. Add some star power to that brand. Big E could go on a strong heel run. Kofi could go on an underdog babyface run. And if you want, you can build off a Tommaso Ciampa feud, a Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano feud with Big E and Kofi Kingston. Big E winning the WWE title down the line and Kofi having to go through Big E to get the WWE Championship. At least there would be some sort of storyline and substance in a build-up to Kofi Kingston winning the WWE title. Other than right now, Kofi Kingston lucked into this position. Kofi Kingston shouldn't even be in this position. Kofi's in this position because Mustafa Ali went down with injury. This was all slated to be Mustafa, so as of right now, if they want to make Kofi champion, you can't do it as a member of the New Day, number one, and you need to build off a much better storyline than just Kofi being tossed into this position because someone went down with injury. For all we know, Kofi could end up getting in the match at Fastlane, but Owens is in the title match. Owens looks good, by the way. Got a new tattoo. He's moving swifter. He was working a very good match in the main event, and I'm going to talk about that later on. But he wanted to team with Kofi. He's like, hey, give me Kofi. I want to team with him. So Stephanie and Shane granted his wish. We then went into a tag team match, and Matt Hardy, yes, Matt Hardy's back. They extended the Hardy Boys contract a year, and the Hardy Boys are part of the SmackDown Live tag team division. Matt Hardy looks good as well. Matt Hardy looks very good. He's moving swifter. He looks like he hasn't missed a step. And it ended up being a good match for what it was with the Bar. Matt Hardy doing his normal shtick. The deletes, the elbow drops, side effects. Jeff Hardy using his patented poetry in motion. Tope con hero over the top rope. And in the end, they won with the Twist of Fate Swanton Bomb combination. And the Hardy Boys defeat the Bar. So that was a huge surprise there. Then, from there, R-Truth returned. And I'm so happy R-Truth is back. And what happened next was actually very good. And I like what they're doing with R-Truth right here. He said he's going to make his idol John Cena proud by bringing back the U.S. Open Challenge. So then Andrade Cien Almas comes out. Rey Mysterio attacks Almas. Both men are in the ring. And R-Truth, he's like, what would John Cena do? And then Carmella goes, well, he would fight both of them at the same time. And R-Truth goes, really? Damn, he brave. But I was thinking more like, no thank you and no thank you. So R-Truth doing his little comedic shit. R-Truth obviously getting some laughs in there. And then he goes, you know what? John Cena, I'm going to make you proud. And boom, we got a triple threat. And this was a very good triple threat match for the United States Championship. And this is what I want to see. I want to see the titles, especially the mid-card titles, being more highlighted on the weekly shows. I want to see more open challenges. I want these titles to get back to prominence. There was a point in time where Rey Mysterio was going for that patented baseball slide that he does, and Almas kicked him out of midair before he could land on R-Truth. R-Truth then had Almas in an electric chair. Rey Mysterio did a springboard and Hurricane Rana'd Almas off of R-Truth. Almas went crashing down to the floor. R-Truth still can move. 47 years old, still moving around like he's 25. And he went for the 619, did Rey Mysterio. And I believe he missed. He missed the first time on Almas. And then Truth got back into the ring. Truth and Almas were kicked onto the ropes. Ray went for a double 619, but he only connected with Almas. Truth rolled him up for the 1-2-3, and yes, Truth retains the United States Championship, and I have no problem with this whatsoever. Number one, we got a very good match. Two, I like that they're actually going to give R-Truth a run with the title, because A, he deserves it, he's a hard worker. B, Almas and his moment can be saved for a pay-per-view. You don't just want to waste a moment on Almas winning the United States title just on plain television. I can actually see Rey Mysterio and Almas either fighting next week on SmackDown or fighting at Fastlane, and then the winner gets R-Truth. Or we could be on the road to seeing a United States Championship ladder match, and I'm going to talk about that more when we get to the news, rumors, and reports and what WWE plans on doing with the United States Championship. But as a result, hey, Truth retains. I love R-Truth. I have no problem with R-Truth retaining. The feud with Almas and Mysterio will continue. R-Truth's reign as U.S. Champion continues. Let's get another open challenge next week. Charlotte came out after the match. Obviously, just Charlotte, just being the bitch that she is. She said she's going to show up next week, and Vince McMahon is going to rightfully hand her the Raw Women's Championship. So, shit's going to go down next week. Whether it's with Ronda, whether it's with Becky, whether it's with both women going after Charlotte, shit's going to go down because there's no way that Vince is just going to hand Charlotte the Raw Women's Championship. We then had a good tag team match. A lot of tag team wrestling was highlighted on SmackDown Live. A lot of wrestling in general was highlighted on SmackDown Live. And that's what I like about SmackDown. It's more wrestling heavy. And the more wrestling to a wrestling show, the better wrestling show that you will get. So there you go. Black and Ricochet. I'm loving this team. And if they end up winning the Dusty Rhodes Classic, I don't know who won. I have not read the spoilers. But if they end up winning the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, good Lord, can you imagine Black and Ricochet versus the War Raiders? Good Lord. I would absolutely fucking love that. That is a perfect way for both Black and Ricochet to go out if they're really going up to the main roster for good. Ricochet, he's great. He's flying all over the place. Springboard elbow to Rusev. We had Ricochet doing a Fosby flop, I believe. Nakamura and Aleister Black actually mixed it up. I would love to see a match between Nakamura and Black. That right there is a dream match I never knew I needed. Nakamura had Aleister Black down, and I fucking loved this. Nakamura went for the Kinshasa and ran right into a Black mass. I absolutely loved that ending. Aleister Black and Ricochet defeat Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura. Ricochet and Aleister Black continuing to establish themselves as a force to be reckoned with. We had a backstage segment where AJ Styles was talking about being a slump, and he says that this is still the house that AJ Styles built, but Randy Orton comes in and he goes, the house that AJ Styles, what? And just walks away. That match at WrestleMania is a must. If you're looking to make WrestleMania big, if you already got the triple threat match with Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky, if you already got Rollins and Lesnar, you're going to have Ray and Almas or a U.S. title ladder match. You're going to have Bryan and Kofi or Bryan and Owens or a triple threat there. Get AJ and Orton on there. Get AJ and Orton on there too. The main event was actually a very good tag team match as well. Kofi Kingston, he took a beating from Rowan. Rowan is still as brutal as ever, and he's wrestling in the in his vegan clothes with Daniel Bryan or whatever the hell you call him. Owens actually got the hot tag, and Owens was on fire. He was doing drop kicks from the middle ropes, doing cannonballs. He actually modified the pop-up powerbomb and modified it into a sit-out powerbomb, which actually looked great. Kofi ended up taking out Rowan, and then Owens channeled his inner Stone Cold Steve Austin, hit the stunner, and pinned Daniel Bryan. And Kofi and Owens coexisted, and they defeated Daniel Bryan and Rowan. So I'm not sure how it's going to play out come Fastlane, but I'm telling you, it's definitely something to keep your eye on. This whole incident with the main event scene on SmackDown and who's going to be the WWE champion, #1 contender going into WrestleMania, it's very interesting. Much more interesting than Monday Night Raw. That's what SmackDown's doing right. They got the good storylines. And you take a look at Fastlane, and SmackDown's side of the board is looking much better than Raw's side of the board, just like it did for the Elimination Chamber. The Elimination Chamber was great because of SmackDown's side and 205 Live's matches. But speaking of 205 Live, very good show, great show for SmackDown. Now, 205 Live, I would say it was a decent show. The crowd really took away from the main event, and I think that had to do with the fact that Drew Gulak, he's a great heel, but he needs a very good babyface to work with. And Brian Kendrick is better as a heel than a babyface, because Brian Kendrick is a veteran. However, he is not as over with the crowd as a babyface, more so than he was as a heel, mainly because of the fact that he was fired from the WWE, came back, and outside of a few decent performances here and there really hasn't been much to get excited about with the Brian Kendrick. Drew Gulak is very good at what he does, and he's very good at his ground-based offense. Brian Kendrick is also very ground-based offense. What I did not like was the fact that this main evented the show over Tony Nese and Kalisto, because Tony Nese and Kalisto actually took the energy out of the crowd. They weren't chanting, "This is boring," during Tony Nese and Kalisto. Tony Nese and Kalisto was a very good match. They were tearing each other apart in this match. Tony Nese was throwing Kalisto into the barricade. Kalisto with the huge top rope senton. We had Tony Nese go for the running Nese a couple of times. He didn't get it. He didn't get it the first time. Tony Nese went for a 450, and he missed. Kalisto hit the 450. He only got a 2 count. Kalisto went for the Salida del Sol. Tony Nese deadlifts Kalisto into a German suplex into the corner, hits the running Nese. Tony Nese moves on to the semifinals. It was a very good match. The main event was also a good match. It was very technical based in the beginning, but the fact that it was too technical based in the beginning caused the crowd to chant, "This is boring." That match should have kicked off the show with Drew Gulak and Brian Kendrick and Tony Nese and Kalisto. That should have main evented the show. In the end, we had some good sequences. Brian Kendrick hitting the boots, hitting the dragon suplex, Drew Gulak coming back with a huge clothesline. We ended up having a transition from Drew Gulak, and he reversed a O'Connor roll, I believe it was, into the Gulak on Brian Kendrick. Kendrick passes out. Drew Gulak moves on to the semifinals. Now, next week, we actually got 2 very interesting matchups. 2 matchups that could very well steal the show for this week in professional wrestling. We got Humberto Carrillo versus Oney Lorcan, and Akira Tozawa versus Cedric Alexander. I wanted to see Akira Tozawa versus Cedric Alexander. Oney Lorcan and Humberto Carrillo. That sounds like a very interesting match, to say the least. And if you really want some more depth to 205 Live, you could put Oney Lorcan on there. I would love to see Oney Lorcan on there. Put some Raul Mendozas on there. Put a Mark Andrews, a Flash Morgan Webster, a Ligero. Mix it up. Triple H did the Worlds Collide tournament. Those are all the brands that he operates. He could have some NXT guys and some NXT UK guys show up on 205 Live. Why the fuck not? But those 2 matches are next week. I'm very much looking forward to them. If I was going out on a limb, I would have Oney Lorcan and Cedric Alexander advance. If it was up to me, I would probably have either Oney Lorcan and Cedric or Tony Nese and Oney Lorcan in the main event. I would love to see Oney Lorcan go on to challenge Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship. Oney Lorcan is a very underrated performer. Very underrated. NXT UK. This show is mainly built around the fact that the Grizzled Young Veterans, a.k.a. Zach Gibson and James Drake, were defending their NXT UK Tag Team titles for the first time ever. We had a match between Tyler Bate and Gentleman Jack Gallagher. Few strikes, very technical based, almost college wrestling like. Tyler Bate ended up getting the win. Nothing really too special there. We had a decent match with Walter and Cassius Ohno. Walter, he's slowly coming around to me. I mean, he's got a few good moves here and there, but ultimately I haven't really seen too much of Walter. I feel as though his opponent, depending on who his opponent is, his opponent mainly carries the match. I don't know. That's just how it comes off to me. But, it was a hard-hitting match. Cassius Ohno getting some nasty elbows in on Walter. Walter, with that huge drop kick, guy's nearly 300 pounds, and he's doing huge drop kicks. He's like UK's version of Braun Strowman. And he ended up winning with a huge power bomb. So Walter gets the win over Cassius Ohno. Next week, we actually got Ligero versus Joseph Connors in a rematch. I believe that more storylines should start being built. Supposedly, Walter and Pete Dunne for the UK Championship was confirmed for NXT TakeOver New York. Now, I really haven't seen too much of Walter. I haven't really seen a mind-blowing match from Walter, but, I'm going to give Walter a chance and see what he can do against Pete Dunne. I've been hearing a lot of talk from the UK people that he's a beast, and I'm willing to give him a chance, so we're going to see how that plays out. But the main event was a good tag team match. I think it went about 12-13 minutes. The Grizzled Young Veterans. I'm a very big fan of the Grizzled Young Veterans. The Grizzled Young Veterans are coming along very well. This was their first title defense against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, they're great at what they do. We had Oney Lorcan get a hot tag, and Oney Lorcan is lighting up both Zach Gibson and James Drake. We had a double blockbuster. Oney Lorcan, those vicious uppercuts. We had a tope con hero. We had the electric chair European uppercut combination for a close 2 count, and it was broken up when Zach Gibson threw Oney Lorcan onto Danny Burch, threw him over his shoulder onto Danny Burch, who was in the cover on James Drake to break up the pin. We then had a ticket to ride. Oney Lorcan kicked out of that. We had the draping DDT, that wheelbarrow DDT that Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch do on James Drake. And for a split second, I thought that they were going to give the tag team titles to Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch for a split second. But James Drake kicked out. In the end, they hit Ticket to Mayhem on Burch. And the Grizzled Young Veterans retain the NXT UK Tag Team titles. Decent episode. Obviously, we had some decent wrestling here and there. It was mainly built around the tag team titles and the first title defense of the Grizzled Young Veterans. Obviously, more storyline development should take place when we get back to the UK, because this was their last taping in Phoenix, I believe. They did a lot of taping in Phoenix. They did like NXT taping in Phoenix. They did NXT UK taping in Phoenix. They did Worlds Collide in Phoenix during Royal Rumble weekend. But NXT, we got a new set of tapings, and it started off with Gargano kicking off the show, talking about what he has to do after he lost the North American title to the Velveteen Dream. Ciampa comes out. He's like, picture you and me in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, you and me as champions. And with the shake of the Black Heart's hand, Johnny Gargano, the Rebel Heart, secured a partnership, and DIY is back in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Oh, hell yeah. We had a women's tag team match with Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah defeating Xia Li and Tainara Conti. Pretty standard, nothing too crazy there. Very, very standard. Obviously, they're starting to build women's tag teams in NXT because Later on in the show, Sasha and Bayley actually came out, and they said these titles, the women's tag team titles, they're going to be defended across all three brands, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. So I'm telling you right now that Boston Hug Connection versus the Sky Pirates is all but confirmed. I'm telling you right now, Sasha and Bayley need to hold those titles until SummerSlam. Sasha and Bayley need to hold those titles until SummerSlam, and they are going to face the Sky Pirates. They are going to face Io Shirai and Kairi Sane at SummerSlam for the women's tag team titles, and Io Shirai and Kairi Sane are going to win the titles at SummerSlam. That is how they need to book this. No questions asked. We had a match that a lot of people were not expecting to be as good as what we got, but we got like a 7-minute tease of a match between Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee. Might I remind you that Keith Lee is 300 pounds, 6'4". Dijakovic is 6'7", 6'8", 270 pounds. These guys are moving around like fucking Kalisto and Tony Nese on 205 Live. They're doing flips. Dijakovic tried a monkey flip on Keith Lee, and Keith Lee landed on his feet. The crowd's going fucking crazy. Dijakovic doesn't know what the fuck's going on. We had Dijakovic do a sit-out choke slam on Keith Lee. Keith Lee kicked out. Crowd's still going crazy. Keith Lee, he did a double chop on Dijakovic as Dijakovic came off the middle rope. And then he did a huge pop-up spinebuster. The spinebuster that Bobby Lashley does, but he did it way much better. He did much better, did Keith Lee. Slams him to the mat, probably like ran into the mat from 8 feet in the air, and Dijakovic kicked out. Then we had Dijakovic take Keith Lee to the outside. Dijakovic does a fucking springboard acai moonsault to Keith Lee. Nearly kills himself. I don't know what is it with Dijakovic, but it's almost like every single time that he wrestles with a death wish. The guy thinks he's untouchable. The guy thinks he's the Terminator. Guy's jumping, doing moonsaults and springboards and super kicks and monkey flips. Dijakovic, please, relax. You don't need to nearly kill yourself every single match that you're in. This actually ended in a double count out, because both men couldn't make it back into the ring. If this is what we're going to get at TakeOver New York, please put this on the card. I beg of you, please put this on the card. Make it a no DQ match, for Christ's sakes. In 2 weeks, actually, we got Bianca Belair versus Io Shirai, and then the winner will actually face Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver New York. The Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic will begin next week. And speaking of Shayna Baszler, before we get into the news, rumors, and reports, this is the final highlight of the weekly show reviews as we come up on about 40 minutes. Shayna Baszler and Mia Yim. Shayna Baszler brought Mia Yim to her best match. The way that Mia Yim was just selling Baszler, just stomping on her ankle. And how Shayna Baszler was just beating the shit out of Mia Yim. Mia Yim's like, give me your knee, Shayna. Do it. Mia Yim coming back with the strikes. The Pele kick. Shayna Baszler hit a modified gut wrench suplex. Mia Yim kicked out. Mia Yim went for the power bomb. And Mia Yim actually connected. But Shayna Baszler kicked out, I believe. Shayna Baszler hit a huge running knee into the Karafuda clutch. And Shayna Baszler ended up submitting Mia Yim to the Karafuda clutch in a good match. Mia Yim's best match so far since joining NXT. So things are actually working out very well for everyone in NXT. I can't wait to see what they do for NXT TakeOver New York. My God. Now, let's get into the news, rumors, and reports. As, again, 40 minutes. I got a new phone, so I got some new equipment. So I'm going to be doing a lot longer videos. So you'll see a lot more of DJ Storms here on YouTube. But my first report comes from multiple sources, including Cage Side Seats, which is a very reliable source. And they are reporting that WWE is reportedly planning on having The Shield versus Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre at Fastlane, and supposedly they might add Braun Strowman and Elias, although it is unclear. It is also unclear what version of The Shield they're getting, because they did save Ambrose on Monday Night Raw. Now, I don't want to fucking see The Shield at all, and no one wants to see the fucking Shield. They're going backwards. They're going right back to where they were before Roman had to relinquish the Universal Championship. Some people, and some sources are saying it's just going to be Rollins and Reigns versus McIntyre, Lashley, and Corbin, 2-on-3 handicap match. Some sources are saying it's going to be all three members of the Shield in a 6-man tag. Regardless, no one's going to give a shit about this match, and this match should not even take place on the card at all. So, I do not want to fucking see that. That's a big no-no for me. My next report comes from Dave Meltzer. According to Dave Meltzer, Sami Zayn is reportedly ready for the return. Sami Zayn's ready for his return, but right now, I think WWE might be holding off on that. They could be holding off on that specifically for the Raw or the SmackDown after WrestleMania. They're holding out on a couple returns, I believe. Sami Zayn, I think, is one of them. Some people were saying that they're holding Roman Reigns out as well for the Raw after WrestleMania, and, you know, what happened on Monday was just a one-time thing. He just wanted to announce his remission from leukemia. I don't really know what to believe anymore, but right now, according to Dave Meltzer, Sami Zayn's ready to return. It's unclear as of right now whether he's returning on Raw or SmackDown, but I would save his return for the Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania. That seems like the best possible option at this rate. Speaking of WrestleMania, you're not really going to like what I have on my next report. Roman Reigns again. Because WWE needs to get Roman Reigns on WrestleMania. Vince McMahon needs to get a hard-on with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. They can't have a WrestleMania without Roman Reigns. Or else Vince McMahon will go completely soft because he'll have nothing to jerk off to. WrestleVotes reportedly tweeted, and I believe I saw the tweet. Yeah, I saw the tweet. What am I talking about? Of course I saw the tweet. I'm on Twitter constantly. WrestleVotes reported that WWE is currently figuring out where to put Roman Reigns on the WrestleMania card. I would leave him off the card altogether because the guy is not needed. Number one, he is currently valueless in a babyface position. Like I said, they were not cheering Roman Reigns on Monday. They were cheering Joseph Anoa'i because he beat cancer. They were not cheering the Roman Reigns character, and I don't care what the fuck you say, because that's the truth. You don't like it, you can suck my nuts. A reported match with John Cena is currently being discussed for WrestleMania. Now, that seems like the best possible option, because then we could all collectively put our head in our phones or go get something to eat while this match is going on. 15-20 minutes of a nothing match. The first match that they had wasn't even that good. It was average, but it was nothing but a finisher fest. It was nothing but a 22-minute long finisher fest with Roman Reigns kicking out of 4 fucking AAs. So, we don't need that. But my final report is actually the most interesting report because it involves the United States Championship. And it comes from Mr. Slice Wrestling. I haven't shouted out Slice Wrestling on here in a long, long time, but I'm going to start doing it again. Shout out to Slice Wrestling. Follow him at Slice Wrestling on Twitter. And I quote, this is what he tweeted, and I quote, report, WWE officials are planning to give the United States title more of a higher status as WWE feels the belt has been lost in the shuffle as of late. It took WWE this long to actually figure out it's been lost in the shuffle. They would like to have an explosive United States Championship match at WrestleMania 35. Now, it's not specified, but a lot of people have been calling Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas. that would entail that one of those two would have to win the United States title from R-Truth sometime between now and WrestleMania. WrestleMania is only, I believe, 5 weeks away. WrestleMania is only 5 weeks away, so they got plenty of time to do that. But I don't really want to see Almas or Mysterio act as a transitional champion. So if that's the case, then what I would like to see is a ladder match for the United States title. Truth, Mysterio, Almas, Benjamin, Rusev, Sin Cara, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Those 7 guys. That sounds like a strong mid-card for you, for the United States title. If they want to do an open challenge with Shelton Benjamin or Sin Cara next week on SmackDown, I wouldn't mind that either. But if you want to talk about explosive, those 7 men in the ring fighting for the United States Championship, I would say that's pretty damn explosive. And if it was up to me, I would put the title on Andrade Cien Almas. Almas has been overdue for a title. Almas should have taken the title off of Shinsuke Nakamura back when Shinsuke initially had it in his original reign. Now, I don't know whether they're going to get Shinsuke Nakamura in that match because Shinsuke's contract actually expires this month. It expires in March. I don't know if they're going to try and get Nakamura to extend the deal, but regardless, Nakamura's on his way out. And if they extend the deal to WrestleMania, then Nakamura is going to compete at WrestleMania, and that could be the end of it. That could be the end of Nakamura's. This could be the end of Nakamura's WWE run. And, you know, it's a damn shame. But, again, I don't know if Nakamura is actually going to be in this match because his contract expires this month, and there's been no word on whether he's resigning or not. For all we know, he could do what a lot of people have been planning on doing. Go to AEW. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. This is actually the longest Lightning Flash Update I have ever done, if you can believe that. Thanks to my new phone. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to follow me on my new Twitter. Yes, Storm's Takeover got suspended, but they can't keep me down. As Roddy Piper said, legends never die. They just get better. Follow me on my new Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS. Follow me on Instagram at TheDJStorms. Do not forget to check out the latest upload in the Search for Thunder series. Again, I've been looking diligently everywhere. I've been looking for the past month now. I said I was going to find him in time for WrestleMania. I went to Tommy McGrogan. Tommy McGrogan gave me a great idea, shout out to him, of where he might be. You're going to see, because I'm going to have to go back to a certain place where Thunder loves, and Thunder likes to eat. I had that going on. Again, working diligently to find Thunder. Next week is actually a pretty big week. I actually have 3 midterms next week. That's number 1. Number 2, I am planning on doing a lot of collaborations next week. Number 1 would be a Storm stream. Yes, a Storm stream. The 12th Storm stream, and this is going to be the final Storm stream before I finally put it on hiatus for a couple of months. My guest would be Nina May 420, at Nina May 420. Go follow her on Twitter. She is going to be my guest, hopefully next Saturday, I believe, at around 4:30 p.m., 5:30 p.m. She's a huge Hardy Boys fanatic. So if you want to go follow her, again, Nina May, Nina, May 420, just like that. That's number 1. Number 2, also on Saturday. Saturday is actually going to be a big uploading day, if you can believe it. Saturday is going to be a big uploading day because I plan on also collaborating with Earl Cole from Wrestling Express. Shout out to him. Also shout out to Tom McGrowan and Glenn Davidson, the administration. Those guys are absolute beasts. But Earl Cole, we're planning on doing a collaboration session, and we are going to collaborate, and he's going to be my guest on the rundown for Fastlane. So that's going to go up early in the morning next Saturday. And then after that should be the Storm stream. So Fastlane weekend is going to be a busy weekend for the DJ Storms brand. Right now I'm at 219 subs. We're continuing on the road to 300. Let's get going, guys. I'm trying to get to 300 by the summertime. I want to get to 300 by June and then 400 by August. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. As we just hit 50 minutes, you guys enjoy your weekend.